Leave that open for a minute. Get some air. Yeah, it feels good. Thank you. If you would have put that screen door in, we could leave it open.
Yeah.
All right, so I was able to get 7.5 out of this last one. So I'm going to go ahead and just shorten these up. She wanted them smaller anyways. That's a 7. 4. Let's see. Yeah, that's not going to work anyways. All right, so let's just go ahead and make that a 7.5, and we're going to have to patch it with the gray. There's not enough to do it all the way around. Again, this is a customer order for a fabric storage bin. We also have a 3D printer in our home, and we make the hard plastic bottoms. So anytime you get a handbag, a purse, a storage bin, anything like that, it will come with a hard plastic bottom that will be encased in a fabric envelope. See if I could talk to you guys here. You can see me. There, I think you can see me in that. So it'll come encased in a fabric envelope, so you can remove it and wash everything in the washing machine, put it back in. And the plastic makes it so the bottom doesn't droop out when you're carrying something heavy in there. Why? No. Why? I mean, it doesn't make sense. Go get some sleep and call it a night. Behave. Good night. Make me feel all bad for you. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going to go ahead and make a patchwork one. So this is going to actually take longer, just a little bit longer. So we're going to go 1, 2. What am I doing? You know, you get on camera and you get all weirded out. So this is like 5 1/4. So I need 4 sides. I want to make sure I got the print that I want. So we have a fox there. We have a bunny here. 3, 4, 5. So that's going to cut off that fox's head. Let's see. That's fine. There we go. I guess I'll do a video where I sit down and introduce myself when I have it more together. Let's see here. Maybe we should do a purple. That looks really good with that. My leg is really bothering me. We just happen to have some purple that's already stabilized. So we need to make these 10-inch tall squares, rectangles, whatever you want to call it. So we're going to build them up from here. So we have 5 1/4 on that, which after the seam allowance for both sides, pretty much that's a 4 1/2. So buttons on your underwear. We're going to go halfway. So we need 4 pieces to go all around for each panel. Let's see, we'll just add a little bit of purple. Not much. So we have, right now that's 3 1/4. 3 1/4. 3 1/4. Yeah, I'll run it into my fabric. 3 1/4. Look at that, perfect. 3 1/4. Now we will determine our length of the gray after we sew these pieces together. Question is, can I take you with me to sew? Let's see. Oh, wait. Nope, I could add that on there. Yeah, look at my fun setup. Oh my goodness. Yeah, see, I need like a table like right here. Because if I bring you on the table, it's going to vibrate the camera when I sew. I don't. We're going to have to come up with the better. I might have to move this little stand, this little dresser I have, and maneuver this around. Like I said, I just organized everything today. You know, every sewing room needs dusting and organizing. As you see, I don't have no big fancy machine. I just have a Singer domestic machine. But I've been making all my handbags on this baby. Well, not this particular one, but I went and bought the same one for 6 years now. I was sewing on the table behind me, and all my stuff was here, but this table's a little bit lower. So I've been meaning to, from when we first moved into this house, which was back in April of this year, I was supposed to go start on this table. I got to wind me a bobbin real quick, guys. Sorry. Oops. I don't have enough weight. Why is this working? What's going on? Oh my God, my machine wasn't on. I just freaked out. Oh my goodness, the light from this little lamp, I'm not used to that. We have overlights that my husband put up, and because I moved tables, I don't have my overlight. It's over there. So, oh, that scared me. I kind of dropped my pedal earlier, and it's a ceramic floor, so she's all set.
You ready to go night-night? Give me a hug. Oh, I love you. Can you say I love you too? A fish kiss. Sweet dreams. Good night. Oh, you want to give me a longer hug? Love you.
Oh, and for those of you that end up watching this video down the line, so I'm pretty sure I'm alone right now, my presser foot is broke. So I always have to lift it up. Where normally, you know, on your presser foot would just be up. So it's something that I have just grown used to. And once we get past the holidays and financially unscrambled, I'll be able to save up for a sewing machine, industrial sewing machine that I want to get. But for right now, this is what I have. And I did go out and buy a new domestic machine, but they're not making them like they used to, and they're just junk. That's a whole nother conversation. Whole nother video. So we're just going to get these pieces together here. So because we're making a patchwork one, that's what I call a patchwork, I'm just going to sew right sides together, the printed and the purple. We're going to get those all sewn together. I know a lot of people say what seam allowance they're using. I use about a 1/4 inch seam allowance, maybe a little bit bigger. Just make sure whatever you choose, you stick with the same seam allowance for all. We're going to do a little thing called chain stitching. Do I want, let's see, that one's going to go on the bottom. No, that one's on top. So we're going to put this one on the bottom. Keep in mind, if you have a print, you know, your print's facing the right way. Where do you want your next piece to go? Do you want your print to be on top, your purple to be on bottom, or purple on top, vice versa? Man, people who actually like learn to sew or has been sewing longer than me, expert levels, whatever, you guys are gonna trip when you find out how I make my stuff. You'll see. I mean, of course, today it's just a fabric storage bed, but down the road, there'll be more. All right, so that one was on top. This one's going to be on bottom. So we're going to top, bottom, top, bottom. All right, so as you see, I didn't cut none off. That's why it's called a chain stitch, because you just keep going and they're all hooked together. All right. Nice big close-up shot of my face. Are we back? Yeah, I don't know how people do it when they move around. Is there like you move camera to camera, or I don't know. So any of you out there that catch a glimpse of my video and see of what a newbie I am, maybe you can be kind enough to give me some tips and advice on how to make that work, make everything work together. So here you can't see me very well. Let me see if I'm ironing my ironing my seams flat. And you normally go to the darker side. As you see, my purple material is stabilized. My print is not. So I'm just going to go ahead and press my seams all to the purple for the purpose of when I go to stabilize. Stabilize meaning the interfacing. When I go to do that for the print, the seam will get stabilized as well. You won't have like a raw edge in there. I mean a non-interfaced edge. All right, so that's what it looks like. As you see, we have our print here on the bottom. And then print on the bottom. Let's see, print on the bottom, print on the bottom. Oh, isn't that strange? I thought I was going opposite ways with everything, and it turns out I wasn't. That's weird. I thought I had print on top. That's strange. Okay, so it ends up where they're all... Okay, I'm losing my mind, guys. Never mind. Okay, so we have two pieces where the print is on the top and the purple is on the bottom. Then we have two pieces where the print is on the bottom and purple is on the top. So as it goes around all four panels of the fabric storage bin, it will, I don't know what word I'm looking for. All right, so we want to get to 10 inches, and we also want to add our seam allowances. Want to make sure this is lined up. So right now I'm at just shy of 7 3/4. So you want to go to 10 inches. So I always jump up another inch. 1, 2, 3, this would be 3.5. So I'm going to go 4 inches to be safe. Now, do I want to use the houndstooth or do I want to use the chevron? I really like how the houndstooth looks. Wait a minute, I like how the chevron looks too, but that houndstooth looks great with this tulip pink. And you know, might just have a big enough piece here of the purple. We can make that our bottom, our main bottom piece. Okay, so now we need 4 pieces. What do we say? We're going to go 3.5, 4. We're going to go 4 inches, 4 by 7 3/4. Just pressing out these wrinkles, these creases. All right. I like to take it to the nearest edge here. I always want to get the most you can out of your fabric, the most use. Fabric's so expensive, and I don't know what word I'm looking for again, but be cautious when you're cutting it. Be, what's that word? Fruitful? Not fruitful. Can't think of it. I'm sure someone's thought of it by now. All right, scraps like this I actually keep because they make great zipper tabs. So I need 1 more of those. I did 4. For those of you that want to check out things that I make, I do have an Etsy shop. It's kind of empty right now, but there are some things lingering around. www.spitzybanger.com. Spitzy is S-P-I, T as in Tom, Z as in Zoo, Y as in Yo-Yo. Spitzy. Banger, BANGER.com. Spitzybanger.com. The name came to me in a dream. And it's funny, when I first Google searched it, there was an all-white screen, 0 search results. Now there's all kinds of stuff. There's Spitfire, Spit this, Spit that, all types of stuff. But when I searched that name, there was nothing. I wish like hell I would have took a screenshot of that just to show there was nothing out there. You know, it's Google. You know how hard it is these days to come up with something new, especially a name. You know, the word itself in the name that you come up with, that word exists somewhere out in the world, right? Is my head cut off? It sure looks like it. Let's see. There we go. Yeah, see, I think I'm too far away. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and add on. Oh, that's right. I cut them all at 7 3/4, and it was 7 1/2. I forgot we took that down. So let me just take a 1/4 inch off of these strips. I'm not going to turn the camera. Let's see here. All right, there we go. So maybe I can get some advice on better cameras, better ways to, you know I've looked up how to set up and what's the best way to set up, and you just got to kind of find it yourself. Nobody can tell you. I understand that. They're so tall. Like I said, the other table was taller, so I felt like I was lower in my seat. All right, so this is going to look like that. How do we want the next panel to look? All right, it's not going to be that one. It's going to be this one. Okay. So I want to kind of start matching it up, seeing how the setup, how you want it to look. I know in most videos, people have their materials already cut and stabilized. Done as well for other videos, but this was a practice run. Okay, so this one, we'll get the bottom piece here. So I can go back and watch and edit and mess around and see what I learned from this experience. All right, so that one's going to go there, and this one's going to get it at top. All right, I gotta move this camera again. Here we go. Is anybody getting camera sick yet? I wonder if anybody else had to do this when they first started. Had a silly arrangement like this. So I am pressing the creases out right now. Remember, we want our side panels to be 10 inches tall because my customer requested it to be tall and narrow. It's going to be a fabric storage bin that's going to hold all her bath bombs. She must have quite a few, or maybe she collects the large ones. This would be a nice bin to keep them in. So now that we have all of our seams pressed, and I just pressed all the seams to the houndstooth side. Normally you would press to the colored side. I was just going opposite of what I did with that one, so no big deal. All right, now let's see what we have. Do we have 10 inches? Yay. Okay, we're a little over 10 inches. So we're going to go ahead and cut them down to 10 and a half. And that will account, that'll make it a little taller after because she wanted it to be 10 inches finished. So I'm going to cut them down to 10 and a half. And then that'll give us around about almost perfect. What I was looking for. And you know, to mix it up, I could take off two of the purples. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. So I'll take off two of the top purples. Take that 1/2 inch. Oh, I already messed that up. Okay. Here. And then do this one with the purple. It just kind of it'll give it a different angle and different look around each side, so it's not all exactly the same. All right, now time for the interfacing. I just use a lightweight interfacing. Get it from Joann's. It's at P44F. It's just a lightweight, nothing special. I mean, nothing stiff. And I also use foam or fusible fleece, or different things that are more structured for the exterior panels. But I also give a layer of this as well. So we're going to go 8 3/4. Sometimes I cut my interfacing. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just lay it on there, use my scissors, cut around it. So now I'm going to press the interfacing on. Again, I don't think the camera is showing that. Okay. And I cut it wrong. Interfacing scraps. Don't throw them away. I don't know about you, but I use every bit. All right, so this one's been completely interfaced. Panel number 2. You know what, I'm just going to go ahead and lay that on there. Sorry you guys can't see it. Bear with me. We're going to get back to that sewing machine here real quick. Yeah, it's silly to not be able to see what I'm doing. I mean, this is ridiculous. There's just no way I can, just a few inches off. Now I'm just using scraps to fill in the spots where my piece wasn't big enough to cover. I have little scraps laying around like this. Scraps. Interfacing scraps. All right, that's panel 3. I wonder how people change views. Like, you know, then they're switching around. Do they change cameras? Is there multiple cameras going in the room like that? Because you can only go live from one camera at a time, right? Again, if you guys know or can help me out, please let me know if you have the answer to that. Is it just editing techniques to make it look like you're switching? That, you know, when you go to switch the angles, because people have to get up and go to their sewing machines or go to their back to their desk, and maybe that's just the editing that you're doing, so you don't see me swinging that camera around. Okay, we have all 4 panels done, so we have 7.5 by 10. 7.5 by 10.5 panels. Let me get them all facing the right way, because remember we set up the purple and the houndstooth differently. So this piece will look like this, and that one will look like that. So when it goes around the panel, it'll be different. All right, and then we're going to go ahead and cut out our main bottom piece. That'll be 7.5 by 7.5. So 7.5 square. Is that the proper way to say that? 3, 6, 7. And then are we going to make do we want handles on our storage bin? So there's our bottom piece of the storage bin. Cut the liner. This video is going to be long. Shows you truly how long it takes. I'm already 45 minutes in. And I haven't had any child interruptions except my daughter giving me a bedtime hug. My back is killing me. My leg is bothering me. It's all swelled up. Whoops. So I was on my feet a lot today. Like I said, I'll do an introductory video. Introduce myself, tell you about myself. You guys can see if you want to hang out with me or not. Just getting that little kink out there. So we're going to go 10.5. So 1, 2. I know I can get another panel out of this last piece. However, I need 2 more panels and a bottom. Sparingly. Use your fabric sparingly. That's the word I was looking for. So this is where that technique comes in. So I need 4 panels, 7.5 by 10.5. I just cut 2. I could easily use this as my 3rd piece, but then when I cut into this fabric, it's already folded in half. It's all ready to go for me to get my last 2 panels. So then the smart thing to do would be to use this to get my bottom piece, which is 7.5 by 7.5. Okay, so now we have our bottom. And then, let's see, this is almost long enough for a handle, but I think she might want one a little bit longer. By the time you sew that up and get it nice and secured into the exterior seams, it'd be kind of too short. All right, 3, 6, 7.5. There we go. Oh, come on. This is a nice Robert Kaufman solid. I think this one's called Metal. The actual color is called Metal. One was a gothic gray. It's funny names. They come up with stuff, but I think this one's the Metal. All right, I'm going to get this little piece cut off here. Clean up my edge. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We want 10.5. I'm going to cut this at this quarter piece because I have a quarter hanging over here. So there's my 10.5 by 7.5. So there's our panels there. Now this is long enough for handles. Let me see. It's just, I'm not sure. I think it would be prettier to add maybe a light aqua for the hand. No, maybe not. Maybe that's kind of asking. Yeah, we'll stick with this one. We'll stick with the dark. So for the handles, I'm going to go 3.5. Excuse me. 3.5. 3.5. Perfect. These are actually a little too long, but I'm just going to go ahead and whip them up. So by the time you whip them up, get your handles. Like I said, I'm not going to make them that long, but I use the leftovers for my keyring tabs when I'm making my phone wallets and stuff like that. So this is a nice color that goes with a lot of different. All right, so here's our interfacing. It'd be a lot quicker if you just pre-cut it on this deal here. I just sloppily cut that across there. Trust me, guys, if you've seen how big my space is, oh my gosh. Like all the way around. I'm not working with much, but I'm grateful. Count my blessings every day. 5, 6, 7.5. So I'm just going to cut long strips of 7.5. Okay. And then I can just lay them down as I go onto my panels, cut, as I need. I know I'm going to need at least one more. So 3, 6, 7. So that's pre-cut. And then we had 3.5 for our handles, and we're going to only need one. Okay. So that's for our handles. And it just makes it smoother. Put your safety guard on your rotary cutter if you're not using it. I do it. I don't care if you have little kids or not. When you're reaching for something and you accidentally nudge that thing, it will cut you. Even the lightest scrape, it'll get you. It'll get you. All right, so I'm going to start with this panel. I'm so sorry you can't see me put it all on there. So far the whole time, I think my people watch is just one, and that's probably just myself. That's okay. We all got to start somewhere, right? I don't even know how to invite my Facebook friends. Like, I don't even know. I don't know what I'm doing. One way or another, I'm gonna find you. I'm gonna get you one way or another. Blondie. Must have heard it on the radio. So for those that are just making fabric storage bins for the first time and you actually use my video as a reference, feel free to ask me questions. If you get stuck or lost, I typically respond pretty quickly. And I would be happy to give you a direct answer. Like, hey, I did this, but this happened. If I understand what you're talking about, I'll help you the best I can. I have no problem with that. And this is crucial, you guys. That interfacing it's really important because it makes the fabric not so floppy. And even then, that's just for the liner. You get to the exterior, you want to have fusible foam, fusible fleece. I like the fusibles because it gives it that nice crisp ironed look. And then also I quilt everything. I've noticed in a lot of these videos, and I've been watching everybody, from shabby fabrics to Whitney Sews, Missouri Star Quilt Company, Laura Mormino, Crafty Gemini. Trying to think of all the popular ones that are out there. Sewspire.com. Her name is Andrea. She is just a sweetheart. Her voice is so soothing. But I noticed with everybody, and everybody's different. Everybody does their own thing. Everybody has their own swing, their own swagger. I like to quilt everything. I feel like it just makes it stronger. It has my name on it. I'm selling it to you, or I'm giving it as a gift. I do a lot of business. I do a lot of sales. So I'm selling something with my name on it. I don't want it to get to you and fall apart a month later. I want you to have it and be like, this thing's lasting forever. It's holding up good. Oh my goodness. Da 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 da. That's what I want. And I know the whole goal in today's world is to not make things that last forever. So you have to keep coming back and buying more. But I think if it's a good quality product, that'll make people want to come back and buy more. Anyways, that's my opinion. So when we get to sitting down and the main panel has its main stabilizer on it, I might be using all the words wrong, but the foam or the fusible fleece, I am going to quilt it, just to let you know. Top stitch all the seams down, and I like to add a few quilting lines in there. And I think that's what helps set my product apart from everyone else's. I do have a different way of doing things. I have a different way of putting things together. A lot of the methods are the same as anybody else, but I do have some things to teach people. Not everything's the same. And that makes it fun. It makes it more educational for those that are watching. Like, I watch all the ladies out there, and one might bore me, but I learned a really important tip from her. And then the other one, she does the same thing I do, but again, I learned one very important tip. You get something from everybody that you watch. Right now I'm prepping and pressing the handles for the fabric storage bin. I did the good old fold in half, and then let me show you. So you take your piece and you fold it in half and you press it. And the purpose of that is so that you make a crease down the middle. Ooh, the fabric's hot. Then you open it back up, and you want to put your edges to match the middle crease. Can you see how I'm flipping that down there? And then the same way, you fold that to the center. Okay, and then you fold it in half. And you press. And that is how you get a nice, even strap. I am obsessive with my iron. I like everything to be crisp and straight, neat. All right, so all of our lining pieces are ready. Our straps are ready. I'm going to move them to the sewing table. Now, I believe we're going to do foam for this one. Oh, Lord have mercy, does my back ever hurt? Oh. Okay. All right, this is a fusible foam. It is expensive. Again, that word, sparingly. Use it sparingly. So, you know what's going to get me? I believe this is 20 inches, and I cut my panels to 10.5 inches. That's another thing to keep in mind when you are trying to use your supplies sparingly is I could have cut these at 10 inches even, and then I would have been able to get 2 panels across here. But I cannot. So, let's see what we can get this way. Again, it's only 20, so 3 of them. We're at 7.5. Nope, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. But what will work is I can, okay, I know what I'm going to do. So, be careful not to cut into your panels. You don't want that to happen. I'm just going to go ahead and press this in place. I know it's off the camera. Maybe part of it is on. Yeah, part of it's on the camera. It's already 10:02. Wow. All right. I'm going to cut. I'll show you what I'm going to do with this piece next. After I get this done here. Set that aside for a minute. I actually hang on to all my foam scraps too, because you can Frankenstein them back together. That's what I call it. You can sew them back together. There's a certain way you want to sew the pieces together, though, so you don't have like a big gap in your project. You don't want to make a handbag with 2 pieces of foam that have been sewn down the middle, and then you got like this crease that wants to keep happening on that handbag. You want to avoid that. So there's a certain way to piece them together, and you want to be cautious on what part of the project you're putting that Frankenstein piece of foam onto. I put it on the bottom, use them on the sides, use them on straps, you know. I have an order for a small tote bag, diaper bag type thingy. Not a full diaper bag. So I think that'll be my next video. All right, so for these 2 pieces, I'm just going to stitch them together. I'm not going to move the camera yet because I need that space to sew. I need that space to iron this back on. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you just got to hear how you sew together 2 pieces of foam. I can't even say it. Okay, so this is how I stitched it together. I used a satin stitch. You have to look at your machine's instruction book on how to set your machine for a satin stitch. And now I'm able to use this for the bottom. And again, this particular bin is going to have a hard plastic insert that'll have a fabric envelope. So she will in no way be affected by the Frankenstein foam. Okay, now it's time to cut. Cut our Frankenstein foam off. And voila, you can't even tell it's been Frankied. Oh, look, you can see the line there. We'll call it Frankie style. Frankenstein. Frankie. We're going to Frankitize it. Okay. All right, my scraps are going to go there. So I don't want to melt my webcam wire. Here we go, guys. Get ready. Get ready, get ready, get ready. All right. Here we go. See, it's such a far off. Like, you can't even see what I'm doing. We're already at 1 hour and 3 minutes. Wow. Okay. All right, so now we're going to... The floor's crooked over here. It keeps wanting to roll me backwards. I'm very thirsty. Excuse me. All right, so even the bottom panel, this is the exterior bottom panel, the one I just showed you with the foam. I'm also going to quilt that as well. The way that I do my quilting depends on the project. Just a quick, I'm just going to do squiggly lines or wavy lines. And sometimes the edges you'll see them kind of coming up off of the foam, almost like you didn't iron them down long enough. Excuse me, when I see that happening, I just go ahead and stitch them right down. And the idea is to not have to start all over. Keep your needle just going. Like, don't start and stop. Don't take it off your needle, is what I'm trying to say. Just keep on working your way around. I'll show you. I just went right over our little Frankie stitch there. Moving my way down. Now I'm on this side, so I'm just going to do a couple back stitches to move my way back down. Come around again. Move down. Let's give her one more. Sorry about the noisy machine. I'm going to go ahead and stitch that edge down as well. Again, this is a customer order, so no matter what, I take my work very seriously. I like everything to be as perfect as I possibly can. But I got to remind myself it's handmade. So here is the bottom. I love the way of the deep grooves that you get with that fusible foam. Nice cushion. It's nice. So that's going to be the inside bottom panel. Now we have our two foam pieces here that have our panels on them. Again, I'm going to top stitch down the seams and then do a couple wavy lines on here. And I'll probably find a way to edit that out. And I don't think you can edit a live video. You can't edit a live video, can you?
Edit on live? No.
No, once it's already done, can you go back and edit it?
I don't believe so.
I don't think you can either. Okay, well, it is what it is. All right, well, we're just here. Again, I'm just going to keep moving my piece around and moving my way down and back over. I'm not taking it off the sewing machine. I'm not taking it off the needle. In whatever direction you feel you should go in to use your thread sparingly. You don't want to keep having, tracking back and forth. I felt like I was closer to this side, so I'm going to go ahead and quilt down here. And then to come all the way back up here, I'm just going to go ahead and finish this end because this is closer. To come all the way back this way would be foolish because I have to finish all that anyways. Bear with me. I get tongue-tied a lot. All right, now we're going to go back up. We're going to run out of thread. What's that noise? Is that the 3D printer? Something's going on. Okay, so our first panel is done. I'll get you a closer look. So that's how it'll look, and it's got the foam, so when it's all put together, it'll be nice and sturdy. Here's a closer look on that bottom piece with the grooves. I mentioned, I didn't realize how far away we are from that camera. I almost need something right here. Let me see what I got, guys. I have a tote right here. Let me see. What's that noise that keeps happening? asked and you didn't answer. Sounds like something's messing up there. Let's see if this tote would be a good angle. There we go. That's a little closer, right? It's a little bit better. Okay. So I have to go through the next 3 panels. I'm just going to whiz through them. Well, no, I got to change my thread in a minute too. It's okay to bend the foam if you need to get it through the machine. If you feel like wrinkling is happening and your fabric starts to wrinkle, you can always go back and hit it with the iron or spray a little water on it and then hit it with the iron, and that'll get those wrinkles right out. I just love the look of the wavy look. Sometimes I do straight lines. And in my opinion, it secures the project. There ain't going to be any wrinkling or messing up with the looseness of the fabric. It's not going to, the fusible isn't going to wear away. It's quilted. And when it's quilted, it's going to last forever. Quilting lasts for a time. At least I think so. Okay, go down this way. That's that top stitching down the seam. Two more times, guys. 2 more times. Who am I talking to? I think I'm by myself. Well, maybe, just maybe, I'll get some viewers. If you guys like sewing, like I said, my videos will get better. I'll get them more organized, get them more together. Subscribe. I can't get them monetized. I can't get out into the main world until I get enough. I think I have to have 1,000 subscribers, and I'm only at 500 and something. So if you can share and subscribe, would be wonderful. Another thing I should add, and I'll probably bring it up in a few other videos, is I've never followed a pattern in my life. For those of you that are new and you want to make something, you can, get a pattern by follow it. I was one that to watch how something is put together and to kind of use common sense and put, my common sense, my intelligence, my abilities, put it all together and just do it. Go for it. If you're not sure how something is done, look it up. Look it up on YouTube. Watch some tutorials on it. Just how I learned. I've never used a pattern. I own some patterns. Actually, own a bunch of patterns. I own a bunch of vintage patterns. And I bought patterns because I'm like, oh, I want to learn to make that. And then I never use a pattern. I just dive in and do it myself. And if I get stuck, don't know what I'm doing, or how do I get that gusset right? How do I do this? How do I do that? I just jump in on YouTube and watch it. All right, let's see here. Yeah. We're not going to make it across. Okay, so it's time to change out our top fabric. We're on our last panel right now, and then we'll start putting this baby together. I'm used to my garbage being on this side. Hey, is one of the girls available? Will you bring me that container of Tums off the kitchen counter, please? Thank you so much. Got heartburn. I'm super thirsty. I think.
Yeah, I'm thirsty.
I made that brown gravy and it's too high in sodium. Always makes me really thirsty. Oh, you're out here.
I guess I need a drink.
Will you run the cold water and hook me up? Please don't let my water bottle touch the sink. It grosses me out. All right. I don't use any fancy thread. I buy my thread from Joann's, Walmart. I buy it in thread lots off of eBay. As long as it's what I prefer is thread that I can burn. I think has to be a cotton and polyester blend. I'm not sure. I'm not a thread professional. I hate where you can't get it out of the gosh darn thingy. Come on now. This one's about empty. Yeah. Hold on, don't set it down there. The watermarks. Thank you. Good night. Love you. So every time I open up a new thread, why not make some bobbin until you got it out, huh? I like to have the white and black Nice and full. It's nothing worse than being in the middle of a project and you don't have a bobbin ready. And yes, my machine has an automatic needle threader, but I never used it. All right, last panel, guys. Let me see. We only did one on that one. All right, fabric panels are quilted, ready to go. I don't normally go around and trim. I know a lot of people do that, but if I have too much of that foam sticking off, I want my everything to align up just right. I gotta move my garbage box. The chair's rolling away. I'm gonna lift my ass off of it one day and the chair's gonna roll away and I'm gonna fall on my butt when I go to sit back down. Okay, here's another panel. Turned out beautiful. So we got that one. That one. This one. And this one goes like that. So 4 different panels and then your bottom. Okay, this is for your exterior. I'm going to go ahead and whip up the 2 straps for the handles, and then we're going to start putting this fabric storage bin together. I moved everything over to this other table. I don't know if I like this. I feel like there's the floor is unleveled and I'm being pulled this way. Oh, let me, I'm sorry. I'm just sewing along. Let me finish this one up and then I'll give you my little tip and trick on what I do. Yeah. Again, I like to do my wavy lines down the center. Sometimes I do more than one. I like to double line everything as well. I just like the look of it. It's my preference. You don't have to. So I have 2 lines going down each side, and then I have my 1 wavy line going down the center. You're making me nervous. What are you doing?
I want to come say hi to live people.
There's nobody there.
I know, but in the future, I'll always be on it. I want to say hi. I'm not.
Okay, so here's that strap. Remember, you got to make your crease in the middle. Bring your sides to the middle and then fold in half again. Now, a little tip that I learned over the years, and I just started doing it recently. When you go to sew a strap that you have put together yourself like this, don't start sewing down on the open end. Start sewing down on that closed end, because sometimes your fabric doesn't want to align up and it gets weird. And then you're left with a frustrating situation. So sew down on the side. Oops, why is that going out there like that? Oh, I see what happened. All right, I gotta fix this. Something jumped off of there. It's weird. Why would it do that? It's like my fabric. I mean, my thread jumped right out of its little spot. Never happened before. Of course, we're on camera, so it will happen. Okay. Surprised that even sewed. All right, so like I said, you want to start on the closed end. When you sew your first line, that's your open side. All right. If you don't, I mean, if you end up sewing on this side first, sometimes the fabric doesn't want to lay flat and it becomes it shifts. It becomes wonky. Now that's a word I've heard out here in the sewing world, wonky. It becomes frustrating. You're like, what the hell? There's so many different ways that people make their straps. So to each their own. You know, I can only show you what I do. Straps are made. Again, I'm not going to have them that long. So, let's see here. Let's line them up. Let's take one of the panels and use it for an example. See what we like. I'll show you. Oh, I gotta cut off this fabric, this foam end. There's too much hanging off there. Okay. Yeah, it's this way. All right, so this is what I was talking about. It's too long. Let me show you what it would look like if we just kept them as they were. I mean, that's, you know, by the time this gets sewn all together, you're losing a half an inch top and bottom. I mean, that's a pretty long darn strap. So, I mean, unless somebody wants a long strap, I guess for bath bombs, I don't know. I just feel like for the little bend, they should be a little bit shorter. But bath bombs, maybe so you can grab it with one hand. Maybe we should make them long. No, I think I'm comfortable about that size right there. And again, I use these pieces to hook onto my key rings for when I'm making strap connectors and stuff. So I hang on to those. So I guess we will come back to those when we are finished putting this together. All right, so we're going to start putting our cube together. It's pretty simple. Take two of your panels, long panels, sew them the long sides together, right sides together, long sides together first, and oh my goodness, what am I doing? Let's see. Nope, wrong. We're not going to do it that way. Sorry, cancel that, cancel that, cancel that. Come on, Amanda, think. What the heck are you doing right now? Why can't I? Yes, we are going to do it. Oh God. We are going to do it like that. I'm so sorry for this long, confusing video. Jeez, you get on camera, you just lose your mind. All right, so okay, when you get to the end, you don't want to sew all the way down. You want to stop. Oh, what? About 1/4 of an inch from the bottom, because you need that to hook onto the bottom panel. So make sure you back stitch at your starting point and your stopping point. Back stitch a few times, back and forth, make it nice and strong. So when I started, you start from the top, bringing your panels together, right? So all the way down. When you get to the bottom, you stop a little over 1/4 of an inch. So you have a way to attach that bottom panel. When you go to put everything else together, you're going to want those pieces. That's the purpose of that. So make sure when you're sewing on your panels, you're not making a mistake of leaving your 1 inch from the end. You know, make sure you're keeping it at the right end. Everything's going the right way. Stopped 1/4 of an inch again. I like to clip my threads as I go. And now for the last panel. Make sure I'm at my top. Distinguish your top from your bottom. There. And also with the liner, one thing you want to keep in mind is you have to leave an opening for when you are flipping your project right side inside, right side out. There's so many different ways you can leave an opening in the lining on the side. You can leave an opening on the bottom. You want to be able to reach your hand in there and pull your project out because everything's going to be enclosed together. I've seen people where they just go ahead and sew everything together and then they fold the sides in with at the tops, and that's called a drop-in lining. You can search that. You can use that method for fabric storage cubes. There's different methods. With the fusible foam, right now with what we're doing, I'm not going to do the drop-in lining. I'm going to leave myself an opening. Yeah, I did this backwards. This is not how I normally do this. What was I thinking? This is not how I normally put this together. I'm sorry. I am totally losing my mind right now. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we're going to have to wing it. So because I did it this way, there's a different way of doing it. I'll show you with the exterior. When you go to put your bottom panel on, okay, make sure you start and a 1/4 of an inch from the end, and when you sew down, you can feel your seam right here. You don't want to sew over that seam. You want to stop right there because that leaves that opening. Let's see if I got this right. Let's see if I could do this. Or did I just screw it all up? And I have to remember to leave myself an opening to flip my project around. All right, so I'm just going to work my way around. So what I'm doing, as you see, it's coming together already because this is the bottom panel. So I'm going to work my way around, and then it'll all come together. In the meantime, I got to remember to leave myself an opening. I'll do that on the last one. So you can sew all the panels together and then add the bottom on, but that's not normally how I do it. So I got confused there. So not only are you trying to learn something new, but I just taught my own something. There we go. All right, so here's the last one for the bottom, and then here's the last piece for the bottom there, and then we're going to have to sew up the side seam here. Okay, so I'm going to leave my opening here. Being that it's only a 7.5 inch square, it's not leaving me a lot of room. If you find yourself in a smaller it's where it's smaller like that, it might be smarter to keep the opening on the edge of the lining. When it comes time to sew that together, you just flip the ends, and you're gonna be able to see it from the inside. You will be able to see it unless you want to hand stitch it like a whip stitch by hand and make it so it's not noticeable. But I don't get that picky with mine. You know, it's at the bottom. The purpose of the item, handbag or storage bin, is to put things in. Nobody's gonna look at that little seam that's showing in there. Has anybody seen A Star Is Born? I just now seen it for the first time ever. It was about 3 nights ago. And boy, was I crying. I was like an emotional mess watching that thing. I kind of hit home with me on a couple different areas of that movie. It's a good movie. I love Lady Gaga's voice. She's got a powerful voice. Beautiful. Okay, so here is the lining for our storage bin. And here's the opening. See how that works? Hello. All right, so I keep saying so buttons on your underwear. My dad used to say sew buttons on your underwear. We used to be like, huh? All right, this is how I usually do it, I think. I don't even know how I normally do it. I've totally forgotten. It's just left my mind. Well, you know, that seemed to work out just fine. We're going to stick to that way because right now I'm just having issues with remembering how I used to do it. All right, so we want to make sure we're matching up our panels on how we want them to be, how we want them to look. So these two are going to go like that. And then the next piece will be that one and then that one. Okay. So make sure you pay attention if you have a print that it's facing the right direction. If you did patchwork, you want it to be the way that you know, because the cube's going to go like that. You're going to have two sides. So you want to make sure you're doing it right. You don't want to put one upside down by accident. So when, you know, before you sew, you double check that. And then remember, at the top, back stitch nice and secure, you know, start, stop, you know, back and forth. Then when you get to the end, you stop 1/4 of an inch of the way. I do a little over 1/4 of an inch of the way from the bottom. All right, here we go. And this piece seems a little bit longer than that piece. I don't know how that happened. It's never happened, ever. So I don't normally do this, but I'm gonna cut that just for my own security because I don't know what the heck's going on there. Maybe I'm paying attention to the camera, not paying attention to what I'm doing. Something's going on. All right, so the next panel to go up will be that one. Okay. No. Oh my goodness. Woo! I just almost did what I told you guys not to do. It's gonna be this one. I had that one upside down. Gotta be careful. All right, and then the last one is this other purple one here with the bunny. Make sure it's lined up. If you're not comfortable with just using your hands, you can pin it. You've got Wonder Clips, straight pins. These are vampires. Every time I use them, they take my blood. And Wonder Clips are safer. These are dangerous. I don't care how careful I am, I get poked every time. And they are sharp. Again, that panel that had the gray on the bottom was like a 1/4 inch longer. I must have not been paying attention and didn't cut it down or something. Strange. All right, it's coming together, guys. 3 hours later. That's what I say on SpongeBob. All right, so now it's time to put the bottom panel on. Make sure we go to our bottom and right sides touching. So right side, that means the printed side, the pretty side, the fabric side. That is your right side. Remember, when it comes to this one, you start and stop 1/4 inch from the end because you need those little openings to connect to the other pieces to bring it all together. And you should have 1/4 inch hanging over your next piece. So don't think that it's not lined up. Oh my gosh, it's not lined up. Why do I have more hanging over? It's supposed to be that way. That's your seam allowance. That's how you're going to sew this baby together. So if you notice that happening, don't worry. It means you're doing it right. And remember, if you can take your fingers, lift it up, use your fingernail, or just look, don't sew past the seam that you have created with these 2 panels. Come down here, take your finger right there, lay your bottom little piece down. You can kind of feel that knot, that, you know, that seam that you created. Don't sew over that. That's where you want to stop. That's your stopping point. Okay. There we go. Again, I like to cut my threads as I go. Some people like to cut them all at the end. I'm going to set these straps over here so they don't slide off. So now we have that bottom piece on. This is up. My panels are upside down. Bottom piece, okay? You're going to take this side, and now you're going to attach it to the next one like that. See how I did that? Bring it over to the next one. And when you bring it over, you see how your panel wants to like cave in? I like to poke that out. That gets it out of the way. You know it's not going to get sewn into the seam. All right. So make sure that's sticking out. That protects it. Remember, now you have a seam line. So that's your 1/4 inch mark. So that's where you start. Back stitch. Go back and forth. Come all the way down and stop 1/4 inch. I like my little sound effects there. Come back down here, get those threads. All right, see how we got it going here? Remember, the panels are upside down. Here's our bottom, Now we're going to swing that side over to the next one. Again, take your hand in there, poke out that panel so it doesn't get in there. Poke it out. Get out of my way. Repeat the same step. And it's because everything's bulky, it's hard to start where you actually need to start. So get as close as you can. You know, put your presser foot down, put your needle down, get as close as you can, and you can use your reverse button to back your way in, you know, to where you need it to start. So back your way up and then go, you know, back and forth just to secure it, and then there you go. All right, here comes the last one. So we don't have to leave an opening for the exterior. We're not worried about that. That's only on the liner. So get that closed up here. Now this is where you need to make sure you don't back up on this one. This one don't have a seam yet. So you want to start 1/4 inch from the end, and when you're all done sewing this piece together, then you have to close up your sides. This is going to be your final sew right there, right down the side there. All right, so be careful not to close that up too tight up here. Poke out that panel. I have a box right next to me, guys. I'm not throwing my stuff on the floor. Although you can, and just make sure you sweep it up when you're done. All right, so now again, now we're going to sew up that side. Make sure that this is the bottom piece now. It's going to want to cave in. See how it wants to cave in because you're pinching at this. So you want to make sure you poke that out. Get it out of your way. It gives you a nice clear area to sew nice and tight down to that corner. So I'm going to clip it here. All right. So it keeps that panel out, and I'm going to start from up here. Start from the top. Remove that clip. Cut your threads. All right, this is where I like to do a finger check. I put my finger in all the corners. Make sure your corners are closed up. So I feel some, oh, that one's, okay. All right, now we're going to flip it right side out. Now, I'm not going to do it with this one, but you can go the extra mile to make it really boxy, to have more defined sides. And this is kind of like bowing out, but it comes more together once you get the liner in and you do your top stitching. It, you know, brings everything together. Now what you can do though is you can fold your creases here, and you can do a stitch going straight down to the bottom. And I've actually done it where I did it to my bottoms too. I stitched all the way. You know, you give it a top stitch, and it pinches it. It gives it a nice secure stitching. I almost want to do it. I love the way it looks, but it doesn't have to be done. Let me see here. Sometimes I do the sides and I don't do the bottom. You know, I've done the bottom and not the sides, or you just don't do it at all. You don't have to, but it does give it a whole different look. But she is just going to be using this for bath bombs, so I think we're just going to leave it how it is. Oh, I love the way that looks. I like it. I like how it looks. We'll leave it alone. Okay, so I'm going to get out 4 of my Wonder Clips. Now, if you notice, we have purple, gray, purple, gray. So being that we have the metal gray handles, I'm going to put them on my purple panels, not my gray panels. Because it's purple at the top. And I'm just going to eye it up. You might want to get out your measuring tape. Some people don't, can't just measure by looking at it. They have to have the stuff. Me, I've always been good at eyeing stuff up. It's just a gift of mine. I'm not knocking anybody that can't. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. It's just something that I've been good at. If I need a 4-inch strip, I can just kind of cut it blindly with no ruler, and 98% of the time I'm spot on. So I'm just going to eye that up. Looks good to me. So clip the straps on. This is where I go to a zigzag stitch. I'm going to remove a piece of my machine, the table part, so I can get a better, closer range with my item. Bring it into the machine. I'm just going to zigzag stitch down the top. Show you what it looks like when I'm done. This is so the straps are reinforced. They're going to be extra strong. They're not going to rip out no matter how much weight she puts on them. I hear so many people saying, I made a bag and I was carrying it and the straps ripped out. Not from me, but I've heard horror stories about it. And I'm over here like, girl, you didn't sew them in good enough. I think people underestimate the weight of what we or they or whoever puts in their bag. I mean, sometimes we put a lot of stuff in our bag. It's heavy. All the strain and stress goes on the straps. So you want to make sure them babies are in there nice and secure. And look, this isn't even a handbag. This is just a fabric storage bin. But this is just the way that I do things. So I took a zigzag and I went back and forth 2 or 3 times. And then when this all comes together, this will come across here with a straight stitch. And I also go back and forth a few times again. Then it gets another top stitch. So they're reinforced. You do not have to worry about my straps being weak on any of my projects, ever. Never, 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 never. And I just revealed my strap secret. I've never seen anybody do this. All the ladies out there that sews and sews and sews. Some of you ladies don't do the stuff that I do. And I'm like, what are they doing? It's going to fall apart as soon as somebody uses it. All right, now the time has come. Here's our storage bin, looking great, beautiful. Now we're going to put the exterior into the interior. And being that this is an all gray liner, it doesn't matter how you put it in. The only important part is that we are going to match up our seams with our seams. That's the only part that it matters. That just takes a little wiggle room. Come on, get it in there now. A little wiggling, not wiggle room. Just takes a little wiggle. Little adjusting going on. So get your straps in there. Get your straps in there. As you can see, this is already in there crooked. This is where I pull out all of my Wonder Clips. And just start by grabbing one of your seams. Now I like to also open up the seams too, especially the foam. I don't care about the lining, but when it comes to the exterior, if you used fusible fleece or fusible foam, you definitely want to open up the seams. Butterfly style is what it's called. Open them up. Pin it there. Wonder clip it, pin it, hold it, go to your next one. Everything will start coming together. Man, I'd love to hear music when I'm sewing, but if I turn on music, I guess I won't get paid for your videos if they become monetized, because there's content that you don't own the rights to. It's kind of a bummer because I love hearing music when I sew. Let's see here. All right, everything's lining up good. This one's getting a little wonky over here. There's that word wonky again. Remember the first time I heard it, I'm like, that's not a word. Stop saying that word. Don't say that word again. I hate that word. But now I find myself saying it. All right. So what's important too, ladies and gentlemen, is when you do put your exterior inside of your interior and you get your seams matched up, okay, make sure you do a pull check. I call it a pull check. It means you tighten it out, pull it straight, and you want to make sure your liner is the same as your interior. I mean, they're both the same. Like if it's not lining up and you got all this extra room and your liner's you have too much liner, it's not lining up evenly, too much exterior or it means that you messed up somewhere. You didn't stick with the same seam allowance, something happened. Because if you don't, then let's pretend this is all too much. Then as you sew, this is going to fold over and you're going to end up with something like that. So you don't want that. You want them to be nice and clean and straight. It's very important. And there is a little, like a quick fix. If you find that something, especially with handbags, you go to put your liner in and you're like, oh my God, it's not lining up. Take it apart. I'll get to that. I'll make a video about it. Again, if you ever have questions and you run into a problem, feel free to send me a message and I'll help you. That's the best I can. Anyways, there is a way to fix it, so don't cry. Don't throw away your project. Don't throw it in the fire, and don't just sew over it and say screw it. There is an easy way to fix it without having to undo everything. So, but do the pull check first. Don't go sewing around yet until you've done the pull check. Make sure everything's nice. See, this one was a little bit loose on me, I felt like, but it's it fell right into line. Sometimes that's all you gotta do is just do some adjusting and it gets everything right. All right, so now let's sew this baby together. Remember, when I go around the part that has the straps, I like to go back and forth and reinforce them again, which is the actual panel I'm starting on right now. All right. And then as you go around and you come to those seams and you have to take your clips off, take your fingers and reach in there and make sure that that foam or fleece interfacing is butterflied out, is spread out. You don't want that to be closed and get sewn to one side. Because when it comes time to top stitch around, you'll have a bulk that your needle will not want to go through. So get yourself a little bit closer, you know, sew a little bit closer to it. Make sure that it's spread out. Make sure it's spread out. I'm back to where my other straps are. You can actually hear the toughness on the machine, the thickness. There we go. Got that all secured in there. We're at another seam. Make sure it's opened up. Last seam. That one's nice and open. All right. A little bit of that. All right. Take time to get rid of those threads. All right. Now it is time for the big reveal. So find your opening there. And don't worry, I mean, try to be careful and not rip your fabric there. But if you do hear a rip, you can fix it. Just take your time. This part takes a little patience, takes a little time. So stick your arm in there, grab that bottom, squeeze it all together, start slowly bringing it out. It's called birthing your bag. We are birthing a storage bin. Little bits as you go around, a little bit at a time, a little bit at a time. There you go. All right, now stick your arm in there. Make sure everything's poked out, your corners, your sides. Now before you close it off, okay? Oh, and you know, when I was talking about sewing up those sides, you actually do that after you put the liner in. You don't do it before. So we still have an option to do that if we want to. All right, so here's that opening that we left in the liner there. Don't get grossed out, but I like to lick my fingers a little bit here. Just put, you know, you dab your finger when you're counting money or something. It's kind of like that. So yes, my projects have my blood, sweat, and tears in them. All right, so I folded everything in, and I'm going to see how it looks nice and encased. like enclosed in. I'm going to stitch down that line. Now at this part you can use matching thread because you don't want it to stick out. You don't want someone to see it. For me, it's just like I said, it's the inside, and I'm also adding that hard piece down. So no big deal. Make sure I went over enough. Okay. And I love to double stitch everything. And oh my God, when I've had to take apart my own work, I wished I didn't double stitch everything, but I just do. It's just something I like to do. I like the look of it, and I like knowing that it has that added security, so your liner is not coming open. Here comes the burning of the threads. Remember I mentioned I only use thread that I can burn. I like those thread tails to be closed off, burnt up. All right, you shove your liner back in, and at this point you can call it, you're done. You can be done. It's cute to actually see how it wants to naturally, half an inch of it just wants to stick off. Shit, I should have said this in the beginning. So at this point, see, it naturally wants to give you that half inch sticking off, and I like the way that looks, honestly. So you can go along and just leave it like this, or you can top stitch it down. When it comes to fabric storage bins, the liner and handbags, all that stuff, you always want to go a 1/4 inch shorter. The liner, you want it to be a 1/4 inch shorter. Nobody really knows the reason why, that you always got a little extra like bagginess with the liner, even though everything was all the exact same size. So 1/4 inch shorter. I've done a half inch before, and it's actually too much. It ends up being where the bottom don't touch, and it pulls into the sides because it's too short of a liner. I think this is really cute. I like to top stitch them down, but for some reason, this is just looking cute how it is. It's for a customer, so I need to. So all right. So like I said, you can keep that natural half inch of the liner showing, and you can stitch it like that all the way around. Just do a little bit adjusting, make sure it's only a half inch so it's all even along all 4 sides. I like that. Or you can take your fingers, and they're better when they're a little bit wet. The fabric, you can roll that down and go along and do that, and then you can top stitch that way. See, that also brings the handles where they want to stick up, but they'll relax. You can actually sew them right down too if you wanted to. I really like the look of that, but let me see. You don't have any, I mean, when you do that, you don't have your fusible foam. It's kind of a weak, I don't know. All right, we're gonna go ahead and top stitch it all down the way that I normally do. That's so, she ordered it based on my work, so we'll go that way. Hey, Belle, is Paranormal Emergency on? Guys, that's it. I can't see my running time from sitting. I can hear it in my voice that I'm sleepy. My sleepy voice is kicking in. I should take this off. So we just made a fabric storage pen on YouTube Live from scratch. Start to finish. Oh, my leg hurts like something fierce. All right. Oh, look at that. Oh, yay. The camera's all laggy. Wonderful. So here we go. There's our storage pen.
Right now, American Monster is on ID.
No, Travel Channel has the Paranormal Emergency.
It has the dead files on, I think.
Just go to the American Monster and pause it. I'm going to come in there and get my jammies on and just call it a night. So we did it, guys. I know this is my first time, my first YouTube Live video. So for those that end up watching this video, feel free to share any tips and tricks on camera angles and best ways to make the videos. That's what I need help on. And in the meantime, I plan on recording everything that I make. That's what I got to get myself out there. So I said, hey, I'm just going to start turning the camera on when I sew, and those who want to watch can watch, and those who don't have to. So, and I have so many different ones that different things we're going to make videos about. All right. Let's call it a night. Oh, clean up my mess. All right, I'm going to pick you guys up here. Bear with me. Bear with me. That fabric storage bin was for Michelle. I'm not going to say her last name because I don't want to invade her privacy. Wow, that light is really something bad when you don't have that backlight. All right, we're going to end it, guys. Thank you so much. God bless, and see you for more.